got a battle royale where Donald Trump is finally run up against Congress, and they're not laying down for his attempt to take over the Library of Congress. It's right there in the name. Although the Library of Congress and its chief librarian, who Donald Trump just fired and is now trying to replace with the head of the Department of Justice, or the second in command, Todd Blanch, his former criminal defense lawyer, that entity, the Library of Congress, responsible for congressional research, congressional file records maintenance for the other branch, is actually a part of, wait for it, the judiciary branch. So how can Donald Trump usurp the role of Congress about its own library, where that library sits in the other branch of the judiciary? See, based on the Library of Congress, it is automatically a checks and balanced. It's automatically a separation of powers because it supports Congress, but it's in the judicial branch. And Donald Trump's like, I just fired the librarian, Carla Hayden, who was appointed by Barack Obama back in 2016. It was in the last year of her 10-year tenure. And she was confirmed, just so everybody knows, she was confirmed 74-18 by the Senate. See, the president can nominate, but the Senate needs to confirm, and it's operated out of the judicial branch. So now Donald Trump just had a standoff where the Department of Justice personnel went down to the Library of Congress, met resistance by the Library of Congress staffers. The Capitol Police were called, and only because the Department of Justice de-escalated by leaving do we not have a bigger problem here. But this is so bad that at the highest levels of congressional leadership, led by Senator Thune in Donald Trump's own party, he's saying, pump the brakes. How do I know? Because he said out loud, we got to make sure the congressional equities are being preserved. Interesting use of the word equities. Donald Trump hates diversity, equity, and inclusion. What Thune was referring to is, we have a role in this process, and we're not sure we're going to rubber stamp Todd Blanch, your criminal defense lawyer, to be the head of the Library of Congress, where he has no experience. I'm Michael Popok. You're on Legal AF. Let's talk about the Library of Congress and Donald Trump's attempted takeover of all the government, regardless of which branch it's in. Let's talk about what the Library of Congress is. It provides nonpartisan research, analysis, and support to members of Congress. So for Donald Trump to try to get his grips on it, to get congressional files, to get congressional research, and be the conduit for it and the filter for it, is unfathomable. It is a power grab of unconstitutional dimensions, so bad that even the members of his own party and leadership are opposed to it. It supports the U.S. Copyright Office, which is part of the Library of Congress, not the Patent and Trademark Office. Patent and trademarks over here, U.S. Copyright Office, so it advises Congress on intellectual property matters. It catalogs, collects, and preserves materials, historical materials, things about the photographs, manuscripts, maps, and recordings. It administers copyrights. It supports and promotes programming for public access and education. See the link to Donald Trump? He hates education. It has scholarship through its centers for academic study. And now Donald Trump has decided, I'm going to get rid of Barack Obama's head of the Library of Congress. I'm going to install my own person over Congress's dead body. Over Congress's dead body. I mean, we've already had major figures in both parties say that this is the line in the sand. If there was, I don't know how many lines in the sand we need, but this is the line in the sand. This is an unprecedented, tyrannical takeover of the government. And now he's crossing over into branches that he doesn't even understand. He's making it easy. This is a forced error. I know that in order to get rid of her, in order to motivate Donald Trump, MAGA right-wing social media has been attacking the librarian, the former librarian, saying that she's woke and she's in favor of transgender things. Cut the crap. Every time they want to get rid of somebody, every time they want to swat somebody, in effect, what they do is they say transgender and grooming and wokeness. She's the Library of Congress, head of the Library of Congress. Relax. Pump the brakes. She's responsible for nonpartisan research. If Congress has a problem with its own congressional librarian, they can do something about it. If the judicial branch in which it sits has a problem with her, they can do something about it. Since the founding of this country, our founding fathers put the Library of Congress in the judicial branch for a reason, to support Congress and to ensure that it's nonpartisan. And now you've got the hyper-partisan Donald Trump coming in and saying, yeah, that doesn't work for me. I want to put somebody that is loyal to me in office. And doesn't frankly, Todd Blanch have a full-time job? He's the number 2 in the Department of Justice. I know they've hollowed out the Department of Justice. I know they got rid of its Civil Rights Division effectively. They've gotten rid of its Public Integrity Division effectively. But he's supposed to be the chief operating officer of the Department of Justice. Doesn't he have something better to do than to become the head of the Library of Congress? So here's some of the statements. John Thune said, "We want pump the brakes. We want to make sure we're following precedent and procedure now that Carla Hayden and the head of the Copyright Office have been fired." The other statements, let me just give you the other statements. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, does not have an immediate statement, which means he got caught flat-footed and wasn't aware that was going to happen, that the Department of Justice was going to go down in battle with librarians. And kudos and shout out to the librarians everywhere and these librarians, because they went and called the Capitol Police and the Department of Justice ran out with the tail between their legs. How many fights do we have to hear about in this administration? Department of Justice duking it out with the FBI in public. Department of Justice duking it out with the librarians of the Library of Congress. This is what the congressional Democrats are saying. Joe Morell of New York, the top Democrat on the House panel that has oversight over the library, called for an inspector general investigation, including the call to transfer congressional files to the president. He wrote, "The executive has no authority to demand or receive confidential legislative branch data, and the library has no legal basis to supply such data." This is how bad things are getting. Look at the statements that are being made. In the rest of the people said the following, just so we have a clear understanding of where these people are. She was criticized recently about cost overruns, but that's a far cry for the attacks that she's been under. Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, said enough is enough. Just as we've moved to bring accountability to the architect of the Capitol, we must assert our congressional prerogative by making the position of the Librarian of Congress appointed by a congressional commission, not by a president who treats federal appointments like reality TV prizes. Part of me thinks they wanted this battle today to distract from the $400 million grift gift from Qatar of an airplane. That is a major money laundering operation in plain sight. A gift from Qatar, our frenemy, supporters of terrorism, who just did a $5 billion real estate deal. And instead of giving him a success fee that he shared with his investors, they gave him a plane that he can temporarily use as Air Force One on my dime, on your dime. And all of that was going on. And it's like, what can we do to distract? Oh, let's send Todd Blanch down to be the head of the Library of Congress, who's my criminal defense lawyer. All right, we're going to cover it all. This story's not over. Keep coming back here to Legal AF. We're going to follow it like no other YouTube channel. We sit at the intersection of law and politics so you don't have to, and we bring commentary like no other without blowing smoke or sunshine. Take a minute, hit the free subscribe button. Come on over to Substack for Legal AF, another way to support the channel and get some amazing, great new content there, including court filings. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.